Let's invoke the blessing, the grace, the Daivam, the Ashirvada. Ashirvada means the blessing of Bhagavan, of Ishvara, of God, the cause of this whole universe, the one that is all pervasive like space in and through all beings, giving existence to this whole universe. We're invoking blessing to get to know Bhagavan. We're inquiring into the Gita, the song of God, to know God, and not to know God as a separate being other than ourselves, away from us, but as God to be found in and as myself. And just take a moment to see the difference between if we would have to find God outside somewhere else, different than ourselves, how that feels. Maybe it even feels nice. No, it's God is somewhere else to be reached because we like the adventure. But then really speaking, like, can you really reach that? And even if you could, can you hold on to it? Can you hold on to a place, to a person, to something that you meet or become or visit? And then feel into like how it is to find God in and as yourself. How does that move you? Like when I do this exercise, often at the beginning, I would almost feel a little bit like in shock, like almost a bit numb, like what, me, I'm God? And I couldn't really like, I couldn't understand it. I could understand it on one level, but on another I couldn't. And there was even a little bit like a contraction in my solar plexus, my heart. But then as I continued my sacred studies and growth, learning, started to land. Of course it has to be me. It cannot be any other way. If it wouldn't be me, then it would mean I'm incomplete. And I would always be small. I would always be insignificant. And so may Bhagavan reveal itself with the help and the blessing of our sampradaya, our teaching tradition, with the help of the pramanam, the means of knowledge. May we be able to receive the pramanam, the means of knowledge. May we be able to trust it so that really Bhagavan can reveal itself in the center, in the heart, in the innermost being of my existence. That is where we are going to find Bhagavan, Pratyagatma, the innermost being. And may all doubts, disbeliefs, mistrust, wrong judgments, and conclusions be destroyed in the light of this discovery, in the discovery of God others. Tathastu, tathastu, tathastu. Let it be so, let it be so, let it be so. Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Ganana Tva Ganapatigum Havamahe Kavin Kavinamupamashravastamam Jeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspata Anashranvannuti Bhisidhasadanam Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha. Om Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada. Aim Hrim Om Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagini Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Atha Shrimad Bhagavad Gita Gita Dhyanam Partaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Kratitam Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamrtavarshini Bhagavatim Ashtadashaധ്യായിനീം Amba Tvamanusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavatveshini. Namostute Vyasa Vishala Buddhe Pullaravindayata Patra Netra Yena Tvaya Bharata Taila Purnaha Prajwalito Jnanamayah Pradipaha Prapannaparijataya Totravetraikapanaya Jnanamutraya Krishnaya Gitamartaduhe Namaha. Sarvopanishado Gavaha Dogdha Gopalanandanaha Partho Vatsasudhir Bhokta Dugdham Gitamrtam Mahata Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagat Gurum Bhishmadrona Tatha Jayatra Jala Gandharanilotpala Shalyagrahavati Kripena Vahani Karnena Velakula Ashwattama Vikarna Ghoramakara Duryodhana Vartini Sotirna Kalupanda Vairananadi Kaivartakah Keshavaha Parasharyavachasarojamamalam Gitarthagandhotkatam Nanakyanakakesaram Harikatha Sambodhana Bodhitam Loke Sajjana Shatpadairaharaha Pepiyamanam Muda Bhuyat Bharata Pankajam Kalimala Pradvamsina Shreyase Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkirpatamaham vande Paramanandamadhavam. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudramarutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tatgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantam na vidussura suraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Devaya tasmai namaha. Om. Take a moment to invite the immediate blessing. Om. So you can let us know if you feel like you would like to learn the Gita Dhyana more properly. Take time, like to break it apart, like we do with other mantras, where we go through each word and each letter, and you would like to do that. Maybe even Mora Devi, Purna Devi or so, who know the chant, can maybe start a class and can teach Gita Dhyanam. It's like, nope. It's good, like I know some of you, they've really been chanting and you're chanting beautiful and you can share. Planting seeds. And otherwise, if like Mora, Purna doesn't want, then we can do it and we can like dedicate like 10 minutes at the beginning of the class to like go through the verses, just bits by bits, and practice the pronunciation. So we're going to begin with understanding that the Gita, Bhagavad Gita, is one of the three Prasthana Trayas. Prasthana Trayas means the three main teaching pillars. So like a pillar, one of the three main pillars of Vedanta. So Vedanta being the end portion, the Purva Bhaga. Purva Bhaga means the end portion of the Veda. And Veda being a body of knowledge, a map for human beings to find maximum security, stability, maximum happiness, and ultimately to discover the source of all security and happiness, which is to be found in Vedanta. So in the Purva Bhaga, what did I say? Yeah, Purva Bhaga is the first portion of the Veda, and then Parabhaga is the last portion of the Veda. So Purva Bhaga is where we deal with Artha, Kama, and Dharma, the three relative accomplishments we call prayas, like we've seen in the fundamentals of Vedanta. We've gone through this, and so I'm not going to go into that now. So you can go back to the fundamentals of Vedanta and repeat that. So just now to give context. So in the first portion of the Veda, we find the teachings to accomplish Dharma, Artha, Kama, the three goals of any human beings. Like we all want security, we all desire relative happiness. Eventually, we discover that by just accomplishing security and happiness, it lasts very briefly. And then the desire rises to refine ourselves, to become a better human person, to become a better person, to become a better human being, and reach out, like where our heart starts to become bigger and bigger and bigger when we start to identify with the collective. And there's the desire for dharma arises. I want to reach out. I want to be create an impact. Why? Because it gives me a healthy ego nourishment. And the happiness that I'm experiencing is much more lasting. So the Purva Bhaga, first portion, deals with relative accomplishments. We call them prayas, preyaha, or prayas. And then the Parabhaga, the end portion, or Antima Bhaga, Antima, so the last portion is Vedanta, Veda Anta, Anta means end, Veda of the end portion of the Veda. It's not like, sometimes it can be translated as the end of the Veda. It's not like in sense of like ending the Veda. It's not like ending the Veda. It's just the end portion of the Veda. It's to be found at the end of the Veda, but it's not ending the Veda. Yeah, it's not like then the Vedas are finished, because the Vedas, it's a body of knowledge, and it's beginningless basically, and it doesn't end. It always comes with every cycle of creation. It's here available for us human beings, because we all need a map to understand what are the goals in life, to understand what is the problem, to understand how to solve this problem. Like any problem in life, we get a manuscript. You buy your table in IKEA, and then if you want to put your table together, you go to IKEA, like you get this whole package and everything is in there, all the bits and pieces, and then you get a manuscript, because without that manuscript, possible to put that table together. Even with the manuscript, maybe it's not called manuscript. How you call that? Like eine Anleitung, like yeah, it's not called manuscript. I don't know how you call it in English, but you know what I mean, right? Gebrauchsanweisung, Gebrauchsanleitung in German, Gebrauchsanleitung. I'm speaking so much German at the moment, so my German is coming back slowly. So eine Gebrauchsanleitung, it's like it's a manual to know how to put the table together, right? And then we all know IKEA tables, even with the Gebrauchsanleitung, you still can't put it together sometimes. But it's the same. We have the Veda, it all tells you like, do this, do this, do this, do this, and we still don't manage, right? Because we think we can do it alone. Like, no, I don't need the Gebrauchsanleitung. I'm trying to put this together, and then you have like a table, but it's like this, right? And that's kind of how our life, we're like, do it yourself. Like, do it yourself. We even have a shop called Do It Yourself, because I can do everything for myself. Yeah. And so, yeah, we can, like, we definitely can do everything by ourselves, but why? Why would I do everything by myself? Like, it's boring. I mean, if I have to, like, if there's nobody around, definitely it's good to be able to be self-sustainable, taking care of ourselves and not needing to be with other people, right? But it's beautiful to be with other people and help each other. So, also the Veda is also, it's diese Gebrauchsanleitung, but not to put our tables together. It's to understand our minds, to have a mind, like a mind that is functionable, a body that is healthy, so that we can we can be gebraucht, so that we are useful, right? And not useless. Because without the Gebrauchsanleitung, we're useless. But with the map, with this manual, then we're useful. Like, and so if I know how to use this body, mind, sense complex, this beautiful temple, I become useful to the world. And otherwise, I'm just a like in very strong terms, like hearing Swamiji in the background, like I'm just a useless fellow, like a useless fellow. And we want to make use of this fellow. We want to make use of this Devī here. And so, knowing how to make use of this, we have the Veda, who is our manual, to make the most out of this body, the most out of this mind, the most out of our senses, the most out of this world, the most out of what is given life. And so the Veda is this manual, and the Purva Bhaga is dealing with the 3 human goals, and then the Parabhaga or Antima Bhaga, the last portion, is dealing with Vedanta, which is dealing with the last human goal, which we call mokshaha, which we also call shreyaha or shreyas, and mokshaha means freedom. So the first one, security, relative happiness, and dharma, becoming a noble person, refining ourselves, and becoming a bigger person in the relative, and then the last goal is when we see the defect of the three first goals, and we see that there are defects in the three first goals, because no matter how wealthy I am, no matter how happy I can be, no matter how noble I can be, like there will always be someone else that is more noble. There's always more people to be helped. There will always be war, and my body will die one day, and I cannot hold on to my money. So I'm starting to see the defects of the three first accomplishments. Like, not the goal in itself is a defect, but it's the accomplishment, what I can accomplish. It's by nature defectful, what I can accomplish in the relative. And so we have this spiritual awakening, we call it, or a psychosis, right? Or a something like we become enlightened. Nothing in this world can make me happy. Everything is just going to fail one day. Every relationship, everything I can accomplish, suddenly they kick me out of the country, right? For many people happening, suddenly you cannot live in your country anymore. Then you really get uprooted, right? It's like you're dealing with the core fear, right? Not being able to be in your country anymore. Have to go, have to leave. Wow. Like, of course, this is going to churn us in every way. And so that's where we become a seeker, and we become a spiritual seeker. Because when we become a spiritual seeker, then we're seeking happiness, we're seeking stability, not from the world or from a place, not from my country, not from my marriage, not from my children, not from my money, career. I'm seeking this security, this stability, happiness from something unseen, something that cannot be found somewhere. And so usually, like, people say, oh, then I'm turning inward. I'm seeking this stability and happiness inside. Like, so we're going inside. And so then, like, Puja Swamiji would joke here, because like, it's not really that you're going inside, because where are you going to go inside here? Are you going to go here through the skin, and then you're going to go through the bones, and then you're going to go through the layer, the blood vessels, and then you're going to go, where are you going to go? Like, are you going to go to your heart, and then you're going to cut off your heart, and then you just find blood in there, and then where inside are you going to go? Like, he makes it very graphically. It's very funny. And then you're like, oh, that's true. Like, I cannot really go inside either. So, but it's metaphorically speaking inside, right? But when we only use that word inside, then it doesn't really resolve eventually. It doesn't resolve, because eventually it has to resolve, and it has to resolve with you, right? So we're turning to ourselves. So I'm not saying I'm going inside, really. I mean, unless as a metaphor, but we're seeking happiness, security, everything we want from the world, and now from us, from ourselves. Like, that's where Vedanta comes into play. Vedanta, the end portion of the Veda, deals with moksha. Moksha means freedom. Freedom means from the chains of samsara, of a life of becoming, freedom from pain, freedom from suffering. Because why are we suffering? Because we have projected this happiness, this security, this stability onto something outside of ourselves, someone outside of ourselves, a place outside of ourselves. And all of that is limited, time-bound by nature. And so my security is actually very insecure, because then my security is just as secure as the place or the relationship. Right? And the place is insecure. The relationship is insecure. If the place will kick me out, I'm going to be insecure again. If the relationship will fall apart, I will be insecure again. And so it's that pain of having projected our well-being onto someone other than ourselves, or something other than ourselves. And when that disappears or vanishes, like, I'm faced again with my insecurity. I don't know how to deal with my insecurity. Then I'm projecting my security again onto something other, like I'm going to the next person or the next place. And then I'm happy again for a year or 2 or 5 or 10 or 30 years or a whole life. It could be, right? But then one day something will happen again. And then like, one day, one life, I will say, well, there must be more. There must be an end to this becoming happy and then becoming unhappy and then becoming secure and becoming insecure. Right? There has to be a solution to this, because if I just become happy, but I'm never really happy because underneath the happiness is there, because I already know subconsciously that this state of happiness is going to go again, means I can never really enjoy the happiness because I know it's not real, like it's temporary. But I'm telling myself now I'm really happy, right? Because otherwise it's devastating. And and we live like that, lifetimes, until one day we say there must be more, because this is not real happiness. This is a relative happiness, but it's not a real happiness. I want real happiness. I want real security. Real. What does real mean? Something that doesn't come and go, something that is permanent. So meaning a permanent happiness, a permanent security. And so if it's a permanent happiness or a permanent security, I cannot be outside of myself. It has to be something that is permanent, right? That exists at all times and at all places. We understand the concept of it, like we understand the word, okay, permanent, yeah. But do we really understand it? Like, really? No, we don't, because there is no such thing as permanence. I can say apple, and then we all know what an apple is. We all have now a red or green or yellow heart-shaped fruit in our minds, right? So we know what an apple is. But do we really know the apple? Like really, really? Like if I ask you, like, why is the apple green? I mean, unless you're an apple expert, you know why the apple is green. Like, I have no idea why the apple is green, right? Or why the apple is yellow, or why the apple has, right, is red. There's so many things we don't know about the apple. We just know apple and how it looks, and then how it tastes, maybe, if we've tasted apple. But some people maybe have never even tasted apple, so they also don't know how apple tastes, right? Like durian. Do you know a durian? So a durian is this very stinky but very erotic fruit. Like, it's aphrodisiac if you eat it. People describe it as garlic and onion. I don't know. It's so funny, right? A durian is an aphrodisiac fruit, a fruit that is aphrodisiac, means it excites you, it stimulates you. Right? But it kind of smells like garlic and onion. But then when you eat it and its texture, it's so sensual. It's like, like and it's unique. It's like no other fruit. The closest fruit would be, it's blank. No other fruit is coming to my mind. I think there's just no other fruit like durian. Just gotta try durian. And often people, it's like India, they either love it or they hate it. And then some people, they hate it at the beginning and then they start to fall in love with durian. So yeah, I have a friend, Michael Watsu, maybe you know him. He's a Watsu expert. Watsu is like shiatsu, but in the water. He's an expert in Watsu. And he's also an expert in durian. He's an expert in durian. So if you ever want to know everything about durian, you go to Michael and ask him. He knows everything about durian. But probably also not everything, right? Like if you ask him why it's so slimy and smells like garlic, I doubt he can answer that, right? So what do we really know about things? Like, so just the more we inquire into the world and things, what I don't know is so much more than what I really know. Right? There's so much I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. And then there's a few things I know. And so when it comes to the word like permanent or limitless or beginningless or endless or consciousness, these are all words, they're just, we know them, but we don't really know them. And so now, going back to the situation where we're waking up and say, I have enough from this instability, from being a little bit happy but never really happy, and like being satisfied but never really satisfied. I want something that is permanent, like permanent. So we know permanent, but we don't know permanent, because there is no such thing than permanence in the world to be found. It doesn't exist. Right? We could say that the volcano is very permanent, right? Or the sand dunes, like very permanent. Even the banyan tree has quite a long permanence, 400 years, but it's not permanent. It will die one day. Right? Even the Sahara, where I was in Egypt, it said like 14 million years ago, it was all ocean. Right? So even like, but it will change one day. Even if it existed a million years or whatever, it will go one day, right? And so there's nothing that is permanent in this world. And so then the question, like, is there such a thing that of permanence? I mean, we're speaking about it. We even have a word for it. So is there such a thing? And then who can answer this question? Your mom? Mom, there's such a thing, permanence. My mom will like, what? Yeah, it's permanently cold in Davos, and that's why I moved to Italy. That's what she would say. Right? So then who? The teacher? I remember like when I was on my spiritual quest and I asked like about spiritual awakenings, and then I would go like to people and like ask them. And just like, because didn't know who else to ask. So I would just ask everyone. I would ask yoga teacher. I thought they would maybe know. So is there such a thing? And the beauty is that when we have the question, if we dare to ask the question, right, because that's already a big step. Most people don't even dare to ask the question, because like if I start to ask questions, then the answers will come, and then the answers might be different from what I want them to be. Right? Then suddenly maybe my behavior doesn't justify anymore. It's not justifiable anymore, my behavior, my way of living. Because I love my life, I love my comfort, I love my illusion. A friend the other day, but isn't it nice to live in the illusion? Like, it's really nice, that the illusion, like the illusion of something being happy, and it's like, yeah, it's nice in the moment, but is it like really nice? Like really, really, really nice to be deluded, knowing that you are in an illusion, and is that really beautiful? Like the bliss of the bliss of ignorance, I mean, with that. Like when we don't know something, there's a blissfulness in there. But like it's blissful maybe, but it's not really satisfying. And it's still painful. It will still cause some kind of response or action that then is not according to what is ultimately true. And so is it then really blissful? I wouldn't say so. So this inquiry, like of what permanence is, and when these questions are asked, we are making already a big step, like going on a vision quest. It's a big step to do, because once I put the question into the universe will respond. And then the answers will come. And then once I start to see the answers, my life is never going to be the same anymore. Right? Never, ever. I start to know, and I can go back to my old life, and I do. Like I continue, but now I've tasted the other side, and I know it exists. I don't know exactly fully yet what exists. Right? Like, and here I mean now, oh, right? We're all here because we've all heard, we've all been exposed to Vedanta saying there is such a thing like permanent happiness. There is such a thing like permanent security. There is such a thing like unconditional love. It's not just a fairy tale, it's real. And it has told us that that is me, that I am that. the source of permanent happiness and permanent securities. It told me that I am the source of love. And so I've savored this nectar. Like it's like savoring, like tasting a little bit of that honey. You know, the honey that comes from like the bees that are very happy and well nurtured and have most beautiful flowers next to them. And then you have a beekeeper who loves his bees, and then you get that honey, and it's just like, and you just have a little bit. Mm. And then you know that honey exists, and then you want more and more. Like, and then every day you need to have a spoon of that honey. Mm. And then the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. Suddenly you can't live without honey anymore. Anyone else who loves honey? Honey. Mm. That's a healthy addiction, at least. Like honey is a healthy addiction. If you eat one spoon, if you eat the whole pot, then that's not a healthy addiction anymore, right? Then you might get diabetes. So everything in measure, right? Not too much, not too little. So never too little honey. Too much, yeah, also not good. So with everything, but with Vedanta, it's a little bit different, right? With truth, with knowledge, there you can never get too much. Mm. You maybe need to stop at times because your mind is like exploding. At least that happened to me sometimes when I was like really on fire and I listened to Vedanta for 3-4 hours a day. And then sometimes my mind it was like this. I didn't know anymore. Do I still have a body? Do I still exist? Like, who am I? What is this? Is it all like sometimes it can feel like that. But then, yeah, even that also, then we take a bath, go for a walk, ground again. Mm. So once we taste like that honey, and here the honey is the madhu, is the nectar of amritam. Like it's the nectar of deathlessness. Amritam is another word for that which is permanent, like that which is amritam, mritam means death. Amritam means deathlessness. And so deathlessness means that which doesn't die, means that which has no end. That which has no end means it cannot have a beginning, right? Which means that which truly exists, that which is permanent. Right? And so the nectar, the amritam of non-duality, of Advaitam, Advaitam, of that which is non-dual, that which you don't find twice, that which truly is, that which is the Sat existence, that which is permanent, that which is Parama, that which is free from limitation. And so we have tasted that. We've tasted a little bit, we know it, but now we get to know it really well. Like really well. So it's not just like the apple that we know how it looks like. We also want to taste the apple. Like you have this apple, this like juicy apple, like fresh from the tree. And it's very nice to look at it. Right? But the best is to take this apple and then to, can you hear this? Like, and then it like, even the juices squirt out, like squirt out, and then and here the apple, right? The apple of knowledge that Eva, what was her name? I think it was Eva. Yeah, it was Eva. Adam and Eva. Like Eva, she dared to bite that apple, the fruit. Like here, it's the fruit, the palam. She dared to take a bite. She dared to enjoy it. She dared to savor it. She dared to really take it in. Hopefully she digested it well. We don't know. She didn't write about that. Mm. And so when we are now going deeper into these studies, these teachings, and we are going deeper through one of the main pillars, which is called Bhagavad Gita of Vedanta, then we're now not only like seeing the apple, like seeing there is such a thing like permanence and amritam, limitlessness and deathlessness, we're now taking a bite of that apple. We're now tasting the honey and actually really, really wanting to enjoy it. And why would we want to do that? Because the result of it is moksha, like the result of it is freedom from pain. The result of it is discovering myself, yourself, for who you truly are. To really know, feel, without any doubts, that you are the source of happiness, the source of security, that you are love, that you are whole, basically. And so when we are now entering into this Prasthanatraya, one of them, the Bhagavad Gita, like we're taking an apple and we're really marinating in the truth of our existence, of my being permanent. So in the discovery that actually that which is permanent is not to be found outside, which we already know, is actually myself, not to be found inside. Right? Not going to find that permanent thing inside. It is just me, you, the very being that is known to you, always you, has never not been you, has never not been with you, right? You always have been here. It's that being, it's that which is permanent. It's that which is amritam, that which is free from death. And in the discovery of that permanent existence, that existence is permanent, which means it is limitless. Finding that permanent existence, it means it has no beginning, it has no end. It means it cannot die. What does that mean? It's whole and complete. That which is whole and complete is that which has no beginning and no end. That which always is. That which is limitless is whole and complete. Wholeness cannot be something that is not limitless. And that which is limitless means it is whole, it is complete. And so that which is permanent is me, my being, which is very important, unknown to me. I don't know, because if I would know, I wouldn't have all the problems I have. It's not known to me. And because it's not known to me, I'm struggling. I have taken other things to be whole. And that's why I want those other things. That's why I'm grasping for those other things or other places. I think if I have this or go there, I will become whole. I will become limitless. And in that becoming whole and in that becoming limitless, I think I will be happy. And the irony is that I am becoming whole. I am becoming happy when I have this or I go there. I am, right? We're all experiencing the happiness, but it's an impermanent happiness. Then I have to go somewhere else. Then I have to become something else. Then I have to do something else to again become happy, because I cannot hold on to the happy experience that I'm experiencing by becoming whole. Yeah. So I have the experience of becoming whole. I have the experience of becoming happy. But in that, I have also the experience of becoming unhappy again and becoming broken again. And then the cycle starts again. That's what we call samsara. I'm whole and then I'm not whole. And then I'm whole and then I'm not whole. I'm happy and then I'm not happy. And I'm happy and then I'm sukh and then I'm dukkha, I'm sad. And then I'm happy again and I'm sad again. And then I'm happy and then I'm sad again. And then I'm sad, 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 sad for a very long time. And if it's too long, that sadness, then it becomes a depression. That's terrible. It's very difficult. And why are we sad for so long or become depressed? Because I don't see anymore now how I can become happy anymore. Because I tried already everything. I tried this, I tried that. I was married, I had a PhD, became a millionaire. Nothing made me happy. And then depression starts. And then in worst case scenario, suicide starts. Right? But then if you would tell that person, right, oh, I can give you the million, or I can give you that partner, or whatever it is, then they wouldn't commit suicide if they know they can be happy again. And we only commit suicide because we don't see any escape, we don't see any way out anymore of our misery. And then we think that by committing suicide, we're going to end the misery. Yeah, we're ending it temporarily. We're ending it for a period. But then we've got to pick up. We're going to take a birth somewhere, somehow, and we'll still have to feel the pain that is there. Because the pain is, why is the pain there? The pain is there just because of ignorance, self-ignorance, is not knowing that what I truly am, not knowing what my true existence is, like not knowing that my existence, me, is whole and complete, is limitless. We don't know. And that has caused all the pain. And so all the pain I'm experiencing, no matter how painful it is, it's all based on a wrong conclusion. At the end, when we really look at it, right, and that's a big one, it's nothing but a wrong thought. Like one thought, really. What? No, cannot just be a thought. But yeah, the truth is that when we really look at it and we see it, it's a thought, a judgment. And where are judgments? Like the toe is not judging itself. My nose is not judging itself. My teeth are not judging. My hair is not judging. Like my hair is not saying, oh, now I have so many gray hairs. Like I say I have so many gray hairs. I say I have crooked teeth. Right? I am judging myself. Not the hair, not the toe, not the breasts. I am judging myself. And where am I? Where am I? A thought. It's a thought. It's nothing but a thought. Mm. A thought that is judging. Mm. So, Vedanta, right? Vedanta is here as a means of knowledge to help us gain moksha, freedom, to end this suffering of judging ourselves, to end this painful embodiment so that we can live and actually be alive here and be present with what is happening here and now while not making a judgment upon myself, being able to see it for what it is. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it is like this. Yes, it is like this. Yes, it is like this. But it's nothing to do with who I am in essence. I'm having an experience. I'm a spiritual being. I'm a spiritual permanent being having a human experience. And the human experience is full. Full, so full. So full. That's the fullness of life. Right? That I can have every single human experience that I want and that I don't want. Right? And I have some say over, a little bit say over the experience of my human experience. How do I have a say over? Based on my actions. Right? Now we got to remember, we have had many lives, we've done many actions, and we've done many things based on self-ignorance. So there's a lot that we're exhausting from past lives because we weren't fully aware of the things we were doing. Right? We were in denial. We were living in our illusion, in our comfort. And we were in our judgments and then making decisions based on our judgments. And so now I'm experiencing that result from those past actions that were done based on ignorance. So when I'm in pain, Om Devi, and I'm in pain, like I'm experiencing now, exhausting these past actions. But now I'm waking up, like we're all waking up here now. Oh, yeah. It's nothing but a thought. It's wrong judgments. I'm starting to see what I truly am. And I'm making new actions. I take new choices. I make new choices. I take new actions. Even though I feel like acting out, I'm not, because I know it's going to cause me pain later. So now I'm applying the knowledge that I'm gaining and then making a choice and an action based on that. And then like that will influence the upcoming experiences. So we're becoming more and more aware and awake of reality, of what is really going on. And we're having help. We're having a means of knowledge to see things clearly as they are. And that is Vedanta. Vedanta is a means of knowledge to help us clearly see things as they are. And so Bhagavad Gita is one of the Prasthanatrayas, one of the three pillars that we call Moksha Shastra, that we call teaching literature. Really, it is a means of knowledge to help us gain moksha, to help us gain that freedom that we all seek, like the freedom of happy, sad, happy, sad, happy, sad, the freedom of thinking, judging ourselves, being limited, incapable, not good enough. We want the truth. And so there we have the Upanishads. The Upanishads you find in the different Vedas. And then you have smaller texts like Prakarana Granthas. These are like smaller texts, smaller knots. We call like Tattva Bodha. We studied that before. And then we have Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is a text that is actually is not Veda originally, but it's considered to have the status of Veda because it's complete. Like it's a complete Dharma Shastra and a complete Moksha Shastra. Dharma Shastra means it's a teaching to help us understand and assimilate the importance of values, values to live by. So Bhagavad Gita teaches these values that help us to come onto the straight path, right? To come onto the path that really will lead to eventually true happiness and security and love by following a path of Dharma. And then the Moksha Shastra is the teaching itself that reveals that we are free here and now, and it's not something that we become. We do become in terms of the humanness, the human being that I am. That person has to become mature. And that person becomes mature by following Dharma. But then the person doesn't become free. Like the true person, the being, is already free here and now. And so if I already am free here and now, then that has to be recognized and seen as an already accomplished fact here and now, not something I become. But the person has to be ready to be able to assimilate and understand this truth. And when we mean the person here, it means the mind, really, because knowledge takes place in the mind. So it's basically this body-mind temple that we are preparing so that this body-mind temple is ready to see, ready to see itself, ready to dissolve the illusion of separation. And so Bhagavad Gita is considered also the status of Veda because it's a complete teaching, a complete Upadesha, complete teaching. And it is we call it the Bhagavad Gita, is the heart of the Mahabharata, which was written by Vyasacharya. Vyasacharya is a great Muni, great saint, who wrote the Bhagavad Gita, who wrote the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata has like 100,000 verses, and then the Bhagavad Gita is the heart of the Mahabharata. Mahabharata here represents the great war of the Bharat clan, of the family that had a big conflict. And that story of that big conflict that that family had is a story that we all experience in one way or another. So it doesn't matter if this story really happened or not. It's a beautiful, very important, and sad, and tragic, and dramatic, and everything. Everything is portrayed in these stories, all the possible emotion of jealousy and anger and hate and love and romanticism and shyness and heroism and the opposite. Everything is portrayed in there, just like we feel everything. Right. Just like our family goes through breakups and makeups and jealousy and competition, right? Just the same. So in that story, we have that's an incredible, beautiful, and tragic story, like our life. We get to also see our life in it, and then we can learn. We learn a lot. We can learn so much. Everything is covered in there, basically. Like that's why it says, you study Bhagavad Gita, you don't need to study anything else because everything is covered in there. Yeah, a lot, at least. I don't talk about sexuality much, but we're adding that. But other than that, I would say a lot is covered in there. So, so we are going to go further into that, and then yeah, very excited about this beautiful Upadesha. And next time we're going to look into what Bhagavad Gita actually means, like the word Bhagavat, Bhagavan, because there are many Gitas, there are many songs, Gitam. You have Rama Gita and Udbodhgata Gita. There are many, many songs. Dana Gita, but we're studying the Bhagavad Gita, we're studying the Gita, the Gitam, the song of Bhagavan. And so we're going to look also into the word, what Bhagavan actually means. Okay, that's it. Let's take a moment. ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः को ब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ सद्गुरो शरणम् ॐ तत्सत् हरिः ॐ